Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey and I am very excited to be sharing with all of you fesh moms and dads out there a couple tips and tricks of the game that I have learned in my 19 years of competitive Irish dance experience. So I'm really excited to be able to share with you guys some knowledge about competing and performance and hopefully help you guys make your Trinity experience even better. So what we're going to be talking about today is prepping your hard shoes for competition. So the first thing that I want to talk to you guys about is making sure that your shoes are polished. So that is number one. I think most of you are already pretty informed about this, is just making sure that all of the places that your shoe has gotten worn during practice is polished, and that's a good thing to do the night before competition. If you are like me and do not have black soled hard shoes, be sure to polish the bottom of that hard shoe as well. And the next thing that you want to make sure you do, and this is going to depend on what the stage looks like at whatever competition or performance you're at, is taping the bottoms of your shoes. I sometimes don't even wear any tape on the bottom of my shoes, just depending on how slippery the stage is. But sometimes it's hard to know what the stage is going to feel like because you can't get on stage and practice on it before you compete. So gaff tape is just like a good safe bet to have on your shoes, just even for your first round, just to make sure that you don't slip in your first round. So I'll just show you guys really quick. That's kind of how I like to tape the bottoms of my hard shoes. Some people just use the entire strip of gaff tape, and that's perfectly fine too. It's just kind of personal preference. The reason that I do it in a cross is just because I like to use as little gaff tape as I can, because the less there is, the better your sounds will sound on stage. So I like to do it there just because it's like the most important parts, and I feel like it does enough to make sure that I don't slip. So that is that. And then we're going to get into talking about your black and white electrical tape that I'm sure you have all seen at dance competitions these days, and give you a quick tutorial about how to do that. Okay, so now it's the morning of your dancers' competition. You have gotten up, gotten their hair and makeup done, you've taken them down to the hall, they're getting their hard shoes on to get ready to go on stage for their first round. So as you probably have seen in a lot of pictures and videos, and your teachers have probably talked to you about this, is there's a big trend in Irish dancing right now that involves white tape on your hard shoes. So I'm going to show you now how to do that the morning of the competition so that your dancers' hard shoes are looking super trendy. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our black tape, and this only applies to dancers that use black electrical tape while they're practicing. If your dancer doesn't use black electrical tape to keep their shoes on while they're in dance practice, this step does not apply to you. I personally do, because I feel like it keeps my hard shoes on better. So the first thing that I do, this is how I tape my hard shoes for practice. I start on the inside of my arch and I wrap it around one time. I try to get this little lace down. I tape those laces down just like that. I wrap it around once, okay? Then the next thing that I'm gonna do is, once it's gotten to my arch, I'm gonna pull really tight here at my arch, and I'm gonna go over the sock. And I do that about 3 or 4 times until it's comfortable enough on my foot. It feels tight and secure. And some dancers will use a scissor there, but I just rip it. Okay, then you're gonna do that on the other side. So start again on the inside of the arch. One rotation around, really try to grab on that lace so you don't have any laces popping out. Pull tight at the arch, over the sock, and back around the heel for 3 or 4 rotations. Step number 2 involves our handy dandy white tape. If your dancer doesn't wear buckles, this will look a little bit different. You'll just have to be really neat at the front of where the white tape goes, and you'll see what I mean in a second. But you will take your first piece of white tape, and the best way to do this with the buckle I have found is if you take that end piece and stick it underneath the buckle. so that it's neat right here. And make sure that it's down and very secure. So then you're gonna take that piece and go straight across the heel. And you're gonna go down around the back of the heel and then bring it around. This is a little tricky part here because you wanna make sure that buckle isn't digging into your dancer's foot. So you're gonna push it down to make sure that it's out of the way and not bothering you. And then bring it back around to the top of where the buckle is. Take that scissor and cut right there. And that way you can stick that piece right underneath the buckle. Okay, so that's what we got so far. You're gonna do the same thing, take that end piece here and go next to where that tape was and make sure that that piece goes underneath the buckle. And go around again, all the way around the back, and to the front, and cut. The most important part here is to make sure that there's like no holes of black, so try really hard to cover all those laces and everything. Okay, now do it again. This time, all the pieces of the buckle are covered, so I just have to really start at the lace. Bring it around. Now it's just going around this black tape here. And now, because the buckle's not involved, I can just bring it around in a nice circle. I don't have to cut it. And just cover this part here. I don't need a whole piece of tape, so I'm just gonna use a small one up here to cover this last bit of black and this lace, just like that. Beautiful. Okay, so now that that is done, we have one more thing to do. We're gonna go back to our black electrical tape, and you're gonna start that piece of tape right at the arch and bring it only halfway up. So it's not gonna go all the way up the ankle. It's gonna go right to where like the hard shoe ends. And then you're gonna wrap that around the arch until all this white is covered. And I kind of feel like that could go a little bit higher. So I'm just gonna bring it up one more time. And then voila. And that is your hard shoe tape for the day of your competition. Then we're gonna go ahead and do it on the left foot as well. All right, and that's all I've got for you guys today. I hope that was really helpful for your taping needs the day of your competition. Last tip that I'll give is for that white tape, try to do that as close to your dancer's competition as possible, just because when they're warming up, the polish and the black tape from the rest of the hard shoe will scuff up that white tape. So the shorter amount of time before the competition that the white tape is on the shoe, the better, just because then it won't scuff up that beautiful white tape that you just spent so much time on. So best of luck with all that taping, and the best of luck to all the dancers traveling to Vancouver for the nationals. Hope to see you there. Have fun dancing.